Hi again. I hope you guys are doing great. It's been really exciting to see the different kinds of things that you've been working on the computer, especially when you do like Zern and iReady, things like that. I can see your progress and what you're doing, and it's really cool. So keep it up, and I hope that you're having a great time with your family and learning some cool new things. I thought we could kind of wind down for a little bit, and you could maybe grab a snack or just get cozy. I've got my blanket here, and I'm gonna keep reading from Little House in the Big Woods to you guys. So we'll finish the chapter. And remember, they had killed the pig and were eating it. So let's see. And remember, she played with the tail and ate the tail, and they loved that. So we talked about the head cheese. Okay, we're going to start here. Here we go. The little house was fairly bursting with good food stored away for the long winter. The pantry and the shed and the cellar were full. So was the attic. Laura and Mary must play in the house for now, because it was cold outdoors and the brown leaves were falling from the trees. The fire in the cook stove never went out. At night, Pa banked it with ashes to keep the coals alive till morning. The attic was a lovely place to play. The large, round-colored pumpkins made beautiful chairs and tables. The red peppers and the onions dangled overhead. The hams and the venison hung in their paper wrappings, and all the bunches of dried herbs, the spicy herbs for cooking, the bitter herbs for medicine, they gave the place a dusty, spicy smell. Often the wind howled outside with a cold and lonesome sound, but in the attic, Laura and Mary played house with the squashes and the pumpkins, and everything was snug and cozy. Mary was bigger than Laura, and she had a rag doll named Nettie. Laura only had a corn cob wrapped in a handkerchief, but it was a good doll. It was named Susan. It wasn't Susan's fault that she was only a corn cob. Sometimes Mary let Laura hold Nettie, but she did it only when Susan couldn't see. The best times of all were at night. After supper, Pa brought his traps in from the shed to grease them by the fire. He rubbed them bright and greased the hinges of the jaws and the springs of the pans with a feather dipped in bear's grease. There were small traps and middle-sized traps and great big bear traps with teeth in their jaws that Pa said would break a man's leg if they shut into it. While he greased the traps, Pa told Laura and Mary little jokes and stories, and afterward he would play his fiddle. The doors and windows were tightly shut, and the cracks of the windows framed, stuffed with cloth to keep out the cold. But Black Susan, the cat, came and went as she pleased, day and night, through the swinging door of the cat hole in the bottom of the front door. She always went very quickly, so the door would not catch her tail when it fell shut behind her. One night, Pa was greasing the traps. He watched Black Susan come in, and he said,
"There was once a man who had two cats, a big cat and a little cat."
Laura and Mary ran to lean on his knees and hear the rest.
"He had two cats," Papa repeated, "a big cat and a little cat. So he made a big cat hole in his door for the big cat, and then he made a little cat hole for the little cat."
There Papa stopped. "But why couldn't the little cat?" Mary began. "Because the big cat wouldn't let it," Laura interrupted.
"Laura, that's very rude. You must never interrupt," said Pa. "But I see," he said, "that either one of you has more sense than the man who cut two cat holes in his door."
Then he laid away the traps, and he took out his fiddle out of his box and began to play. That was the best time of all. And that is the end of that chapter. And I will see you again tomorrow for the next chapter.